Okay, so we customized the interface just a little bit. So what we want to do now is save these settings. And it's a lot like in a luxury car where you have multiple drivers. And when Joe gets in, he can push the button that says 1 and it sets the seat just the way he likes it. And when Susan gets in, she pushes the number 2 button and it moves and adjusts just to exactly her settings. Photoshop's got the same kind of feature. It's called a custom workspace. So where you find that is just right under here. And what we want to do is choose new workspace. And what we're going to do is call this brain buffet. And you'll also note that you can change not only the panel settings, but you can even set up custom shortcuts, menus, and toolbars. I'm going to go ahead and set all of those. Honestly, it's not something that I do too often. I prefer to learn the default settings that Adobe uses. That way, if I hop onto somebody else's computer to get something done, I'm not like in a habit of having all these shortcuts that they don't have on their computer. So that's just kind of a personal reason because I do so much training. The other thing that I want to focus on is that there are also multiple workspaces. So we've been in Essentials, right? And this is the one that we edited right before we saved it and called it Brain Buffet. If we want to go back to how it is originally, where it doesn't have these and it's got those other panels, I can go down here, move to Essentials, and then I choose Reset Essentials, and it resets everything back to just like day one. So that's a really cool feature. And you'll also see that there are other options in here for working with 3D, one for graphics in the web, a special one for photography, and another one here for painting. And one for motion, might as well show, it's the only one left. And then here we get the timeline, which we'll probably get to a little bit later. We're generally, though, just going to be using Essentials will work. I'm going to use Brain Buffet. We definitely don't need that Learn panel out and that stuff. And I think that I mentioned also that you can change the width of panels by adjusting with these little dividing lines between them. Yeah, we did do that earlier. But you get this double-headed arrow, and most of the interface actually has that feature. So that's kind of a neat way to work. Another thing is if you really want to learn the names of all of these icons that you have when you open up all of the panels, you can collapse the panels by clicking on this little double-headed arrow. And then if you stretch it out enough, you'll be able to see the names. This is a great way to just get familiar with the names of these particular icons for these panels. It's not critical, but it can help. Sometimes that kind of question will show up on industry exams, but it's pretty rare. Another thing that you should be familiar with, and this has a lot to do with working with tutorials that you find online, is recognize that in the toolbar, it's sort of more like a toolbox. And so if you imagine each one of these positions being a drawer that has multiple tools in it, and then what it shows you here on where the icon is, that's the last tool that you used. But if you click and hold on that tool, you can see that there are multiple tools in there. So this is another real common problem when you're starting with tutorials. You may find one and they show the toolbar and it says, well, click on the pencil tool. And you're looking at your toolbar and going, I don't have a pencil tool. I've got a pen or a brush or whatever. All you need to do is just choose the appropriate tool and from that position. So if their toolbar is set up in single, then you can set it up in single to find the position. Or if it's in, kind of this double wide mode, set it up double wide and you can just find the position. It's the fourth one down. And then you'll be able to find it by just clicking and holding and getting into there. I think that's pretty much it for the interface. As you see, Photoshop is really easily customizable. I think that's pretty much it for the workspace. Let's start editing some photos. That's what Photoshop's all about. So we'll do